Welcome at the Kunst, welcome at the Encounters competitions. The film we are about to see, Viver Mal, as you probably have read or heard, is one part of a bigger project. Probably, hopefully, you have seen Mal Viver that played yesterday in the competition. Well, some of you have seen it, good. If not, we encourage you to see it. The two films are, in a way, shot and reverse shot. You will decide which is the shot and which is the reverse shot. But it's a unique project that tackle one place, one big place, one community from two different perspectives. We have decided, after long discussion, to show one film in competition and the other one in encounters. It's not because one is better than the other one. It's because they are using different techniques and they deal with the other films in the section in different ways. We can talk about that for later. For now, I'm very happy to introduce this film. I don't want to introduce the film in competition. I can say a few words before these ones. We were really touched by this project because first of all, challenge our way of considering film as a single piece. It is for us a great work of mise en scène, and it's a work with a great cast ensemble. It comes from a cinema that is very dear to all of us, the cinema Portuguese, and this film stays in the highest tradition of the Portuguese cinema. So I'm very happy to introduce to you the filmmaker, João Canijo. Benvenuto, willkommen.
Dankeschön. Carlos said everything. I have nothing more to say. Also, because at the end there will be Q&A. So I thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy the film. Carlos said everything I was going to say.
Enjoy the screening.
Amaral. Carvalho. The candidate who needs two, they are back or not? We need Beatriz. Rafael is there? Okay, Rafael, Morais. Okay. So let's take a seat.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys. Thank you. Welcome. So, feel free to raise your hands if you have questions, of course, as you know. We have just already one. Perfect. Please.
Yes, hello. Thank you for this great film. I haven't seen the other film. I will see it tomorrow, so I don't know how this is going. But I was wondering, in two of the episodes, you had very manipulative mothers as a big topic. What made you decide to choose this topic?
I think mothers are a bit like that. and anyway, those were Strindberg mothers with whom I identify pretty well. But it was Strindberg who wrote those characters. But I think mothers are a lot like that, yes. You should have seen the other one before. Okay, no, you can see however you want, but this one is the funny part. In the other one you don't laugh a lot.
We have also with us Beatriz, Batarda. Welcome. You have to run to catch a plane, he's telling me? Yes, you.
Later.
If you want to say something before going, you're free.
What did you say?
We thought you had to catch a plane in a hurry and you couldn't be here.
That's what I thought, but then I was sent here, so I'm a bit confused.
So if anyone wants to ask Beatriz any question, you must hurry because she's leaving.
Get on my way and give way for younger people to be happy.
But thanks for being with us, Beatriz.
For in the film last night, because for me it was also deep understanding of the nature and the essence of depression. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. And as I said before, yes, the other one is much more demanding from the audience than this one. This one is lighter, it's funnier, and but it was supposed to be like that.
You mentioned that this second side of the other side of the mirror, it's more related to precise text, no? From Silveira. Can you explain to us? Yeah.
The other film, the film from that the lady saw yesterday night, it's an original screenplay made by me and the actors that play in that film. This one, it was also wrote by me and the actors, but all the three parts start with string-back plays, as it is written in the credits at the end. So
three different plays.
Three different plays. Three different and not so long plays by string-back. The most known one, it's the middle part, and it's the Pelican. It's a quite known play by string-back.
Yeah, please. Can I just ask you just to follow this? When you say I wrote the text with the actors, what do you mean exactly?
I mean that we discussed and analyzed and characterized the characters proposed by Strindberg and the play proposed by Strindberg, and by discussing it and rehearsing it, we changed it completely, and they made the plays their own.
Okay, this for Viver Mal.
For Mal Viver, it was exactly the same thing, but not starting with a concrete play, not having the background of a Strindberg play. But that's a process that takes months working with them. It's not week rehearsals.
I don't know if the actors want to explain.
Explaining, for instance,
this process.
In our play, Playing with Fire, there is a story of a painter and his wife, and they both live in their parents' house, and he invites one friend to live in, and then the drama begins, the drama that we see in the film. By discussing with João, for just to give you an example of our freedom working with João wanted him to be a director, and I was interested in photography, and I chose him to be a photographer, and I asked João if I could do that, and João said yes. And we start because the painter has lovers, the women that he paints in the play began their lovers, start to be their lovers. And I said to João, it would be interesting to be a photographer, and now we have Instagram, and there are photographers that are photographing naked women for Instagram. It would be interesting and to adapt that play to the times today. And so, by this interaction, we started to play with Instagram and with social media. And then what we do is we start discussing, then we realize what are the scenes that we want to play. We rehearse them, we improvise, based on the text of Strindberg, we improvise. João films it, edits it, makes it a text, gives it to us. We read it, and we improvise over that text. And then João films it again, edits again, writes another text, and we try it if it works. And when it works, we shoot it. So when we arrive to shoot, all the lines that we are saying, most of them are we invented and they came naturally in the rehearsal room. So it's very easy to shoot with João because the moment we start shooting, we already know what he wants, we already know what everybody wants from the scene, so we just go there and do it and have fun with it. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's as actors, I feel it's a luxury to work this way because, you know, nowadays I think not a lot of directors do that. Not in Portugal for sure, and I think in the world, which is invest time in rehearsing with the actors.
Yes.
And that is, I mean, it's a luxury that I think you can see the chemistry with the characters and the actors on screen.
And especially also, let me just, more than rehearsing with the actors is believing in the actors as creative people and the intelligence of the actor to create a character that helps the movie. And sometimes I can talk about myself, but sometimes I feel like a puppet in the director's hand. And of course, João manipulates us, of course, but we feel that we are giving a lot to the film and we are creating with him the story that we all want to tell.
Using the best way
yes,
possible.
and in the end it becomes, I also believe in the end it becomes biographical. Because by improvising, of course, we are going to our own memories. So in the end, I think we're all talking about ourselves, including João.
Hello. I at the same. I want to add that being very connected to the source, to the really excavating, really going deep and deeper in. Not only in the Strindberg's play, in my case, we were working on Strindberg's play also, but really finding connections between us, in my case, us three. We shared a lot of material. It was not like it was not only biographical in a way, like going to your own memories, but you know these zones, you know the situation, you know the context, and you explore, and you go further and further. And then all these layers come together, and there is a profound and deep object. And then he conducts us very well, but even in the shooting, we have space to breathe. It's not like we're not very constricted. We have space to breathe and propose. And this kind of environment in the set is really helpful to the truth of it, being connected and also being liberated in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go to the
You answer first.
Thank you. Leonor, as you know, she's also a filmmaker and is one of the most talented DOP, not only in Portugal, but in Europe, I would say, if Europe exists.
Everything is prepared by the millimeter. But after that, it's all discussed with this artist, photography director next to me. Now it's your turn to answer the gentleman.
Hello, thank you for watching the film. I think, also with the actors, João, when we were doing this film or preparing these two films, João already had a very specific idea of the things that he wanted to shoot and to show, and for me it was like when we arrived at the hotel and tried to know, okay, how we are going to shoot this. João already knew what he wants, so for us it was a matter of like, okay, let's see what are you thinking is going to work or not. And a lot of times it worked, a lot of times it didn't work, and I think we wanted to use the hotel as also as a character, as a place for these characters to play. And the way of doing it is to use all the framing, all the mirrors, all the reflections. And I think that comes from our love for cinema and from our Asian masters that we love very much. And we try to put that on the film to give these characters another level, another layer, another emotion.
I think that
Because,
that's a question. Yes.
Leonor, sorry.
Yeah,
Can I
sorry,
just-
Leah. Yes.
I want to say
absolutely.
something because Leonor was talking about the hotel, and I heard my colleagues talking about the construction of it. But the truth is that it's not just a beautiful thing about liberty and creativity and blah blah blah. The hotel was very, very much a character, and we lived there for 2-3 months. And so our rooms were our house. And the truth is that it's very hard to work with liberty. Liberty sometimes can be scary, and sometimes, at least for me and for more colleagues of mine, I'm not going to say names, but we went to our houses and we cried because we don't have any idea what can we do with this, with all this freedom that João gave us, and that's it. This was my experience.
Leonor, you want to say something about this experience?
Not really.
No. Okay. Okay.
No, I want to start thanking to the lady that started this Q&A. And thank you very much for what you said. It was very emotional for us. I would like to add just one thing about freedom, the hotel giving us as a character, Strindberg, Canijo, Leonor that played with us. We were left alone because it's just a mystery about mothers that can't be mothers because they don't know how to be. Daughters that will not be good mothers because they are not created as good daughters or are not loved as a child should. So, and this is tremendous and this is very difficult. And as my colleague said, we started building the characters, and the final text was given to us by João almost 7 months after the first rehearsals. And at a certain point, I'm a mother of 2 children, and I couldn't believe that I could be able to construct such an evil mother. So that's absolutely extraordinary to do with a good text, excellent actors, a fantastic director, a marvelous DOP, etc., etc., etc. But at the end of it, how could we? It's really a project, it's really surprenant. I can't say it in, sorry. Yes, it's more than that.
Because I do have my own ideas about this, these two concepts of bad living or living bad, and I'm curious what kind of different feelings you all have towards these two different concepts. E já agora parabéns a todos.
Obrigada.
I was looking for you, not seeing you. Podes repetir em português só assim brevemente a pergunta, se faz favor?
Sim,
eu não
claro.
percebi nada.
Estava só, estou curiosa porque eu tenho as minhas ideias acerca destes dois conceitos diferentes de viver mal ou ter um mal viver dentro de si. E eu gostava de saber o que é que vocês sentem, ou que diferenças há, ou são dois lados da mesma moeda, ou é um lado que vem antes e depois outro vem mais tarde na vida. Pronto, dou-vos a palavra.
The question is, it's your interpretation and your interpretation of what you just said that counts. And it's whatever you want. The truth, it's individual and belongs to each one of us. Like, I don't have a truth to tell you. Anyway, mal viver comes, the title comes from a French expression, and the French expression explains, it's quite illustrative of the film. For me, it was my truth. And the French expression, it's mal de vivre. Mal de vivre in Portuguese becomes more or less mal viver. And because the other film, it's a kind of mirror, it's Viver Mal. I could explain what you wanted me to explain, but I won't, because because I have my interpretation what mal viver means and what Viver Mal means. But as somebody said a long time ago, any explanation has in its nature to be badly interpreted. So, what can I say? My point is to let your imagination believe whatever you want. It's your truth that counts.
And I was happy to hear that the script and the argument had also been written with the actors. But then you also mentioned Strindberg, and the characters that Strindberg created come from a very different idea of kinship. So I just wanted to know what your ideas and thoughts on this tension are.
It's not a tricky question because I have a very easy answer.
Don't say it's my opinion.
So, the American writer Philip Roth?
Yeah.
When he died, obituaries and things, whatever, there was a quotation by him saying, psychoanalysis didn't do a lot for my neurosis, but did a lot for my writing. When I was doing that, when I read that sentence, I was already doing therapy to make this film. I didn't lie to the therapist. She knew exactly why I was there, to be able to write a film about motherhood, to remember things I had forgotten. Doesn't mean it's my mother, but means, of course, like everything we do, it has a lot to do with me.
Thank you. There's a question.
Something I really liked about the movies is how in most situations the characters were not really right or wrong, and just the relationship can't work. It's just how it is, and it's sad, but that's how it is. So that's what I really liked about the movies. And then what I was wondering, because I watched both movies, is how they were shot, if everything was shot together, and if yes, how was it to shift between the different moods and styles?
Third question. The first part of the question, it's a kind of, como é que se diz? It's a very good compliment to me, because that's the idea. I don't want to state any point. I want people to imagine what is the spectator, the viewer, to imagine any truth they want to imagine. So if you thought that, if you felt that, I did my job. Second question is easier to answer. We shooted everything at the same time, but we knew precisely what belonged to one and what belonged to the other. And except for the dinner, the huge dinner, where we used 2 cameras, the rest is single camera all the time.
And we shot this film, during the pandemic. So we were all literally living in that hotel, and only the crew and the people from the hotel, of course. And so we shot everything together. But not only that, we would have dinner at the same place that the characters have dinner. We would live in the same rooms as the characters lived. So in a way, it was, of course, a work of freedom, but we felt also a little bit in jail, I have to say, during this month. So and we shot it together, of course.
And we didn't know that we were making 2 movies.
Really? Mind blowing.
We didn't know that. João and Leonor, they knew it. Not the actors.
Oh, it said
I knew it too.
He knew it. I must make a point here. There are 2 actors, 2 actresses complaining about that.
The actresses.
Maybe they are the picky ones. Because the other one is Dame Rita Blanco. The 2 dames are complaining. Dame Leonor Silveira and Dame Rita Blanco.
The ladies.
But why did you decide to not tell them that?
I think I told. I think they didn't notice I told.
It was blurry. He did not distinguish. No, and yeah, he didn't. Did he?
The thing is, we also, I feel like most of us did not even know exactly what was going on in the sections of other actors, the other parts of the story.
Yeah.
We kind of just stick with our parts and our characters, which I think it brings a very interesting thing to the movie and to the performances, because we were not aware of the lives that were going on in the other rooms and in the kitchen of the hotel, just like in real life, right? And there's a bunch of stories around you and you just focus in your own story. And yeah, even though we shot it together, we were working in a very separate little bubbles.
At the same time, it was contaminating. We felt the echoes. Like when we were having dinner, we felt like even if we were really inside our own drama, we felt the others, like when they raised their voices, or I don't know, when like the energy was there. So it's like in real life, you don't know like the real dramas of people, but you can sense that something is not quite right or something is well. But it really added some kind of maybe like not a mystery, but some kind of we were not relaxed. We were somewhere in a place where we didn't know the other people, so it was tense. It added that quality, I think.
COVID helped, I think, a little bit.
Also, yeah.
And of course, for instance, you finish shooting, you go to your room, and you cannot do noise because they're shooting in the hotel. So it's a different way it was a different way to work from what normally the way we work normally.
Yes.
There are 2 actors that must leave for the airport. Rafael and Carolina.
All right, thank you guys. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we can talk bad about them.
Thank you tonight for the party. Sorry.
So Rafael and Carolina were the most horrible actors I have ever worked. Oh, sorry, you're still here. Sorry. You mean 2 minutes?
And I also must say something about that. Carolina speaks all the time, but also she speaks during her sleep. So she is a never-ending speaker. But she has a star look.
There are more questions? Yes, one here, second row.
Hello, thank you very much for the movies. I also watched both of them and I was amazed. Yesterday I was devastated, but it was beautifully devastated. And I wanted to ask if you always knew that there will be these two movies, or I mean, like when you start to think about it, if you already knew, and what was the first movie in your mind? If it was the first one that we saw yesterday, or how it was the process in your mind?
Exactly as you said. And because also the hotel could be empty. The family of the hotel could live there without no clients. Of course, having clients adds. It's something that brings more to the film. And from the moment, it was not at the beginning that we understood that we would have the possibility of having clients in terms of money. From then on, it was two films.
You know, it's very interesting because now I have to tell you something. You said, okay, the owners can be alone in the hotel, okay? And in fact, for me, in my experience, when I experienced this film, I mean, a mirror could be, you know, the reflection in a mirror could give us back something not exactly related to reality, something more visionary. So at some point when I saw Viver Mal, I even thought, okay, maybe all these guests, they don't exist. They are projection of the owners. Or, the mothers or the owners of the hotel, they are inventing different versions of themselves. And that was my take, for example.
It's very good. That's exactly my point. If Lorenzo could make this interpretation of the scene, for me it's fine, it's great.
Thank you.
The thing I don't want to do is illustrate it and try to force a point of view, force an interpretation. I want the interpretation to be the freer and the larger it can be. It's easy to explain. What is the to be or not to be? The monologue of Hamlet. It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah,
and that's the point of doing things.
But João can be a little bit manipulative.
Of course, that's my job.
I just wanted
the director's job is only being manipulative, nothing else.
But it makes you believe that you're free and you're
Of course.
when you create.
Of course.
But then he puts something there. Don't you see this? This is here.
But very discreet, in a very discreat way.
Very much. That's why we cried alone in the room.
And I do it like the Socrates character in Plato dialogues. I just give inches and ask if, whatever. It's a big manual for for directing actors. It's reading Plato's dialogues with Socrates and putting yourself in the place of Socrates. He never says something is like that. He always says, do you think that's like that? Or not?
Please.
Thank you very much for the film, and I really enjoyed it, and like the casting was fantastic. I really liked the acting, and I was just wondering, since you mentioned that the hotel and the building itself was like another character, how did you do this selection of the building? Since I think it's kind of part of the casting.
The hotel. Now you have to say the truth. Because I know the
Okay, the hotel was an hotel, and it is an hotel of my childhood. It was a hotel where my parents took me on weekends to go to that swimming pool. Wow. We let it, I knew it existed still, I didn't know how it was, because it was for almost 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, more. And so we looked for a lot of hotels around Portugal, kind of 60, 70, and let that one to be the real last one. And when we got there, the hotel it was exactly the same as it was 50 years ago. And the explanation is easy. The hotel was built by a very good architect, and the owner, the actual owner, it's his son, who also is an architect, and keeps the hotel as a legacy of his father. And the hotel, it was, when I started imagining the hotel, I was imagining that hotel since the beginning. It was even better than I thought.
And this is the only autobiographical...
I didn't say that. Oh yeah, autobiographical.
No,
yeah.
This is the only
the hotel, yes.
But there are more autobiographical.
Maybe.
Okay. But you don't wanna say that.
No, because I don't want to direct the interpretation of the film.
Okay.
And if I said more things, people would see the film differently.
Fair enough.
That's why.
Yeah, I agree.
This is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.